What up? What's going on with everybody? We in the building. Figured I start going live more when it comes down to like the what we doing. And then I can see behind me with my dog cages. But what's good? What's good? Today we're gonna talk about a couple topics. And I brought my microphone down to actually have more of a leverage conversation. First thing we're gonna talk about is Kyrie. You know what I'm saying? We got Kyrie right here. And one of the things I want to talk about is how they're doing Kyrie in the media and what they're doing to him and why it's a problem. Another thing I want to talk about is the roles between men and women, and why I believe we fighting for things that we shouldn't even be fighting about or for. You know what I'm saying? And everybody who watches this video, I do have a chat on. And at the same time, I am going to start bringing this all over to YouTube instead of Facebook. Facebook getting a very picky. A lot of people don't know, but this past like couple of days, I've been blocked off Facebook as far as like certain things, and then I can't go live for 39 days, which I thought was crazy because they gave me a ban because somebody was saying that the music isn't responsible for all of the killings that's going on in Black America and in the hip hop industry. They saying it's not the music. And so we wasn't talking about any, like, as we say, the untouchables of the Jewish community. I had used a quote from Hitler. And so they're saying that you can't even use a quote. There's a lot of people in our history, like we quote George Washington, but he had slaves. So how come the atrocities of them supersede the atrocities of us? You know what I'm saying? So I quoted Hitler. Just because he did some atrocity doesn't mean that he has nothing to offer or that he had never had a positive thought in his life. Because what I wrote was that I said, Hitler said, if you want to know the future of a society, listen to the music of his youth. And that's the future. He was telling you that the music is so powerful and so influential to the brain that if you want to know what the future is going to be like in any culture, or rather any nationality, listen to what the youth is listening to, because that's what type of time they're going to be on. Right? So I got banned. First, they blocked me for 2 days on Facebook. And then they told me I was banned for something else for a minute. And then like 3 things, I couldn't go live for 29, 39 days, which is crazy. And I rebutted it because it was no context in this conversation. But that's just letting y'all know why I'm converting over to YouTube more. Because for years I was on Facebook. Now, when we deal with Kyrie, I think we got to be fair about the conversation. When we dealing with Kyrie Irving, first, it's muddy water. When he shared the post, everybody knows that Amazon got the movie out. So if everybody knows the movie's on Amazon, but the NBA not trying to attack Amazon because why? Because Jeff Bezos, I believe, I don't think he's Jewish. I think he might be like a European. So if they go after them, you don't want to start a war with the Europeans, the Jews and the Europeans. So it's easy to oppress us. So it's like it's a control. When I was watching everything with Kanye and Kyrie go back and forth, I started noticing some of the most important factors was wrong. I started noticing that we don't have the freedom to speak your religion and what we want to do, not from the people that's controlling the market. I always said that the problem in this situation is what they're doing is bullying. You know what I'm saying? It's a form of bullying. It doesn't make sense to get so caught up about something for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, I seen part of the documentary. I seen how it went about. I seen what it was. I seen part of it. I couldn't get it all. The first time I pulled the whole thing up, the second time. But from my understanding is that when I finished watching it, it's a very detailed documentary about like talking about the bloodlines, the Bible, and just putting things in historical order. If we can't put things in historical order and they're not allowing it, then that's the reason for our oppression and our degradation of talent and what we're doing. You get what I'm saying? That'd be our problem. Let me turn on my focus right, yo. That'd be the problem. So I think that one of the biggest issues that we can have is understanding our rights to have a religion and what we do. So Kyrie went up there, he shared the movie. That's not against the law. There's nowhere in that NBA contract where it says you can't share a movie according to what you believe. Look, there's football players and other celebrities who have been a part of racist shit, but they didn't, you know what I'm saying? If they get caught red-handed, then they apologize, but they're not about to make them go re-educate themselves on Black people history. So people say that it's a part in there that was offensive about what was said. Okay, so why not pick up the problem with the person who created it with the information? And another thing, if the NBA say you got to donate money, but they say they don't want it, all right. If the NBA say you got to sit down with Jewish rabbis, that's not your right. No job, nobody has the right to legally tell you what you can and you can't do. That's facts. Nobody has the right to tell you what you can and can't believe. And the thing that was weird to me when I watched on TV, I lost respect for a lot of people like Stephen A. Smith, Shaq, Charles Barkley. Today, Stephen A. got back in some of my graces, but I understand that it's politics and they paying attention to what the people want. But Stephen A. said today that he didn't, he really don't, he's starting to really not like how they're just emasculating him. You know what I'm saying? All over a tweet. If they was going after Jeff Bezos and the person who made this movie, you know what I'm saying, it'd be different. But we have to understand contracts. You feel me? Contract law and it's just like, how should I say, contract law, and we got to understand how they work. Kyrie's under contract. So under contract, you legally obligated to certain things, but religious rights and stuff, no. You know, the truth is LeBron, we see he always with Jewish people. That's how I go. Russell Simmons gave us game. He told us that there is no successful black person that's not connected to some Jewish member. And then even Farrakhan said, and y'all can look this up, Farrakhan spoke about this same issue 12 years ago. Farrakhan had a whole 2-hour lecture about this, but they didn't have the outlast with Farrakhan because then you got to answer. You don't want him to explode more. The reason why people were mad at Kanye, from my understanding, is the fact that when they asked him on the podium, like, well, what is it? He didn't really make it clear. Like, look, I believe in Hebrew Israelites, so I believe that black people are the Jews, and he wasn't clear. He just kind of said, yo, I was watching TV, I looked at my name, I watched TV, boom, boom, and that's how it went. And when I heard black people saying he should explain, I mean, why should he explain? If he would have opened up and said that, if they're not ready to even share a documentary and they getting all offended, then how the fuck they gonna do about it if somebody say they're Hebrew Israelite? Because then, what you gonna make him change his religion? Or tell them that they can't believe that and play in the NBA? I'm just saying. Things we gotta think about. Hold on, y'all. Let me play this for y'all.
Can be pardoned for something that isn't anti-Semitic in the first place. So Nick Kennedy is asking, Jonathan, don't you think that what they're asking of Kyrie Irving is dehumanizing? But tell you what, guys, I'm going to go ahead and play that clip. Then I'll get back with the rest of my commentary.
I wholeheartedly say I know Kyrie Irving is not anti-Semitic.
When given the chance to say, are you anti-Semitic or not, he didn't say, no, I'm not anti-Semitic. At the press conference, tell us about that movie, White Did. He said, stop dehumanizing me. And the movie is saying white Jews invented the Holocaust and 6 million Jews didn't get killed. Okay, I know that isn't right.
Right.
There's a gigantic historical record. Jewish people know when you dehumanize us this way, we know what's around the corner.
So in that same statement as those are the tropes that dehumanize Jewish people, the same buck breaking.
What's that? I don't really know what that means, to be perfectly honest.
The slave masters would bring the buck, the one that gets out of line. So all the other slaves would see lash after lash, show them the power to set an example.
Right.
This is what you must do to fall in line. So when we see the 6 things that Kyrie must do to get his job back,
Right.
that's dehumanizing.
See, it's easy. It's easy for everybody to sit back and say, oh, they want to defend themselves. Our problem is this is how you start a war. When you sit there and you bully some of our elites. Kyrie went to Duke. He's not the average nigga standing on the corner. And that's why we offended. At the same time, other NBA players is kind of like, yo, if you're gonna do that, do you what the fuck? I might come in the NBA because you remember Abdul Rahim, he was Muslim. And it was a problem back in the day because his religion and what he would do and wouldn't do. The NBA at a job doesn't have the right. America is a Christian country. That's what they tell us. But Obama said America was founded on Islam before the Europeans got here. And I don't teach hate speech. I quote history. You know what I mean? So what was Nick Cannon just saying? He was saying like when they say that 6 million Jews didn't die in the Holocaust, 6 million didn't die. They did die, but it was other people included, like dark-skinned people that we consider black was mixed in this bunch, and they were killed. That's not a lie. But I don't understand why black people have to be ridiculed about the Holocaust, which was a horrible thing. But what I don't understand is why black people, out of all people on planet Earth, even the Jewish people did not go through what the fuck we went through. The gas chamber is a motherfucker. And the way they did them was a motherfucker. That shit is horrible. It's some of the most horrific shit. But this was done by the hand of Europeans, not by the hand of African Americans. if a race of people say that y'all run this, the Jews did this, I understand their point of view completely. But I feel like they don't give a fuck about seeing ours. How can a black man be anti-Semitic when all of the Semitic countries in Africa are in Africa or in what we call the dark continent? Simple. But the problem is that nobody really wants to talk about this. You know what I'm saying? So we watching Kyrie Irving, and my problem is that I'm watching all the rest of the NBA players and everybody do it. I feel like we ain't but about shit. A boycott is simple. It's a couple tweets, just like how we marched for George Floyd and them and all that, where they got to murder a nigga for us to make action. Well, the action need to be done before that. It's simple. NBA players who matter stop playing. See, they under contract, so that's the issue. They under contract. If they boycott, then the NBA courts can take them to court and kind of force them to play. They under contract. This is what happened. So what I see from the Kyrie Irving is Kyrie's right to believe, whether if he more, whatever, Israelite, whatever. The conversation is key. Regardless of what he shared, why doesn't America or the untouchables, the Jewish community, why don't they want to talk about the conversation? Because like they said, I thought Jews could be any complexion, as they say, in the diaspora, I believe. But when we start talking about the originals were black, it's not a secret, but they're telling us the history can't be counted in, it doesn't matter. So that's the biggest issue. And I'm watching everybody stand back. We've seen it in our lifetime. We watch motherfuckers play fool. Shaq, Charles Barkley. Let's talk about it. Shaq said this idiot, but then he ended up showing a movie in his damn theater. But we know Shaq a clown. He ain't big about shit. I always had love for Shaq. He from Jersey, but he wasn't our smartest. He just a big ball playing ass nigga. He ain't never been bright. You know what I'm saying? That ain't his field. That's why he shoot hoops. And Jersey don't sell out another Jersey nigga for some bullshit just because you mingle and you a Mason and you in there like, miss me. I understand. So Charles Barkley said, my daughter is married to a Jewish man. So you're looking at it as if you're Jewish. You're taking this personal because your child or your grandson got Jewish blood in him. My nigga, you so ignorant that blood already existed in them before she mixed them. But she being in that marriage helps financially. And Charles, you're a drunk. You're an idiot. You know what I'm saying? You've been on live TV, TNT forever, drinking and getting drunk and shit. Nobody give a fuck about what you got to say. That's just facts. And I'm gonna say what it is. That's why they put me on that 29-day ban on Facebook, because they knew it was that. They banned me right before, the day before they did all the suspension. Now, you can suspend me, but you can't make me go to Jewish people. If I'm a motherfucking Muslim, you can't make me go sit down with other people. Now, no offense, because I do understand that you can just, what you want to do, you want to show that you sit down with the rabbis because you want to heal the community. So I get that. But it's not by force. If y'all told him to sit back and then let's say after y'all suspended him for 5 games and said that he need to make an apology or whatever, boom, 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 he do that. Get back to basketball. The Brooklyn Nets don't have it right. You know, it's the NBA, the commissioner is a Jewish person. I understand that, but you should be not bringing your ethnicity to work. You know, I tell black people, you at work. You know what I'm saying? So people already don't like it. So that's why the players basketball association, right? The NBPA, the National Basketball Players Association, they're appealing this because the issue is you can suspend him or you can cut him or buy him out and make him sit at home. But somebody else could pick him up or you could trade him. But what you can't do is you can't force him to change how he thinks. That's like what you trying to brainwash a black man to believe what the fuck you believe. You don't have that right. And you never had that right. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the biggest issues. And that's what Kyrie and the controversy with Kyrie. Kyrie, only thing it is just stand up and hope he stand. But we got to understand he's under contract. When we see apologies, he has a publicist. His publicist, sometimes they'll take control of your Twitters when shit get messy because you pay them, these people, to clean up your mess. So they'll get up there and apologize for you as the brand. They're apologizing for the brand. I think Kyrie can give a fuck about apologizing for the rest because they're just as wrong for sitting here. Let me say it this way. The mistake they made was turning Black America against them a little bit. See, when the mindset, when you so used to being in control and you so used to power and you so used to taking advantage of certain people, in a big moment, you so busy worried about being offended, you show your hand. So because you got offended, you put out your slave whips and showed us that our oppressor is not the European at this point. It's the people that don't allow us to even speak. Now, they all on TNT, they brought a rabbi on TV The rabbi came up there, and what did the rabbi say? He said they all got together and came up with this definition of anti-Semitic. So not the definition that already existed forever, but they decided to make one saying that you can't talk about their money, you can't talk about what they own, you can't talk about who they're in control of, you can't even mention it. Now, we know that the Germans did atrocities to them. So black people was enslaved by Europeans mostly. So if the Chinese talk about on TV, if they share a movie about something with black people, do we ban them? They want the people that caused the atrocity. We need to remember, if a German made these claims, I understand. But the people that did this to you, it's not us. Right? All of these movies in the movie theaters about slavery, y'all putting that shit out. All of the music about killing and drilling, only y'all, the untouchables, have the right to stop this shit. If it's like we're watching y'all say, oh, you won't depict us this way, and you won't make us look like we're evil, even though Farrakhan said it's the evil Jews and the good Jews. Most people that's Jewish are good. But if the people who got all the money in the Jewish community are evil, then don't sit here and they hide them behind this positive image. So y'all telling us y'all don't want to be looked at as servants and weak. Y'all don't want to be demasculated. Y'all don't want that. Y'all would never let Jewish people make the music that y'all let black people make because y'all profited. Because as long as we buy it, and it don't affect y'all. But as soon as a movie come out with a clip in it that violates, no group should have that power. The Me Too movement is full of shit. They can only ban you because they made you. Me Too and these associations because they pay you your money, right? Because we don't control nothing. The reason why nobody's standing up because we don't control shit. We don't have no black leagues no more. See, they couldn't do this before because niggas would have went to the ABA, which was a black league where Dr. J and them came from. The NBA was dying. They needed to mix in to make this shit still work. Do a whole league full of Jewish people and white boys and see how much NBA basketball you fucking watch. Do a whole league of fucking white boys, Jewish people, Italians, and Mexicans and shit. See how much basketball and football you watch. Now we talking hockey. I understand the argument. And that's just being blunt. You know what I'm saying? I've had these conversations long enough to know that the people don't like the truth because the truth hurts. And the truth hurts and a lie doesn't. A lie feels good a lot of times. Or it soothes the mind. It's easier digested. So that's my view on Kanye. My situation where I showed a picture. Let me show y'all. On my Facebook. Let me show you. See this picture? I want y'all to look at it. I'm gonna read what I put. I put, are men insecure to women because we don't want you to have all these male friends and past relationship convos? Or is women today miseducated on women and life skills, never learning to change for the betterment of self-dignity and family? Every woman lives by strict principle or rules today. That sounds like to me that a man wants an honorable woman by not wanting these things, is what I'm saying. So in this conversation, I had good back and forth with a friend of mine, and I always love debating. I think that there's a cure in debates, especially if it's not. We're gonna have our points, but every point that's made when I go back and forth, I learn something. I learn how, whether if I agree with you or not, I learn if your point of. I can learn something from your point of view because you give me an insight. There's a million people on earth that think just like you, right? So it helps me prep and be better at being able to connect or talk to the people. So in my comments, see if it's gonna let me show you. Hold on, y'all. So in my comments, see how the picture again. In my comments, it said, I believe black women are the most educated group of Americans. Always trying to better themselves. I admire strong people around the world. This model is one hell of a looker too, saying she beautiful. I agree. So she was saying she believed black women are the most educated group in America. I won't disagree to that at all. But as my wife say, knowledge is power, but sometimes you can use these things to your advantage. There's no balance, there's no status quo, and there's nobody to hold women, not even women holding each other accountable. There's a movement where women are saying that they want to be like, we don't need men. There is no movement of men saying we don't need women. There is no movement of men that's saying, oh, I could do what a woman do. I guess that's the LGBTQ community. They feel like, and that's not even all of them, because they would argue, and I would have to respect it, that that's not true. There's women in the gay community that still wear women principle. There's men in the gay community that's still manly. You know what I'm saying? As far as masculine, or you feel me? So even that isn't absolute, and I would respect that. But they are being educated. That is very true. But to what aspect? Being educated in our society is like training a dog. No disrespect. That's a bad comparison. Because I don't want to make it offense, because I don't want to compare women to a dog, respectfully. So I apologize. It's like training a child about what's going to happen in life in the future, but you leave out the key parts. That's what education is. You told us stories about George Washington, but we started in the middle of the story. We needed to know what happened. You learn from reading what happened before they got to America, but history starts like they found America and life started. That's not right. So education is also disinformation in the time we live in the world we live in today. So our women aren't educated though. So let me not get off. I can make a point, but I respect your point. And I feel like what you're saying to me is that women, or black women, are the most driven and successful, you know what I'm saying, group, I guess, of women, or even men, I'll give them that, of thing, right? When it comes down to education. But education that you go to for your jobs in school, it doesn't translate into motherhood unless you educate yourself on motherhood. But if you learn in school parenting and motherhood and like these classes, you can get degrees to be in a daycare, but it don't mean that it didn't give you the tools. I mean, no disrespect. I know a lot of people that went to school for shit, and if you go by the book, you still missing it. There has to be a physical and a spiritual both. I can't just talk to my kid, put my kid in timeout. There's some offenses, like they steal the wrong things or do the wrong things, I need to whoop their butt. You know what I'm saying? I need to get at them. I need to be able to dominate them, and the whole word dominate. My issue in the wording, dominate, is the issue that women have. And let's keep reading. I said the woman is playing for self-education and corporate. That's good for a woman, but it destroys the family and the unity of the family. Right? I said she is powerful. Either way, her mind is not focused on the future or the cultures, but material, sex, pleasure, and lust. So I'm saying that she is educated, but her education suits her best in a corporate structure, not with her husband, not with her family. They don't want her with a man, because that's what he said. Who were the two fathers Kanye said that they took out the home? The father of the household and the godfather, or a masculine, or as we consider masculine principles of God, right? But she is powerful either way. Whether she's educated or she's not educated, she's still powerful. Not that I'm saying a woman shouldn't be educated. I'm saying that even a woman with no education still has her body and still can manipulate and still do things for good or bad, right? And when I said that, you know, her mind is not focused on the future of the kids and the family, right? But focused on material, clothes, shoes, all of this shit, right? Sex. That's why they watch TV. That's why every woman want to look like the girls they seen on Instagram on TV that's half naked. Sex. Our women and women around the world are worried about sexuality. How can I be sexy? They spend your whole life, all they do is tell you, first of all, they telling you don't need a man, but your whole life they prep you for a man. Oh, you need in all the shows they were showing you growing up that you wanted a husband, this and that. But men do not want to be women. And we don't want to say, oh, I could be a better mom than my wife. I can't. I could be a great father, though. You know what I'm saying? I can nurture to these kids better than a woman. You can't. But you could be an amazing nurturer. It's like I'm not going to argue with nature and God about what he created and then try to justify it by whatever means I can. The women's movement, I respect it because they do deserve rights. At the same time, the women's movement is also a separation and divisive tool. Right? So we got to be clear, and I'm going to keep reading. And anybody that watches this convo that's tapped in with me, I want y'all to help me be able to push this, you know what I'm saying? Share my lives, and if you ain't been on my platform, subscribe. But just I want to know how y'all feel about it. Now, I said the black man is the opposite in the public eyes. Even though he created majority of the things on planet Earth and stand with no backing. So even though we built and did the physical labor that it took to build America and a lot of shit around Earth, from the statues to the pyramids, all these ancient shit, our mathematics, well, our sciences and everything that we offer, but we have no backing. The woman has a backing support, and that's why it's allowed. Like, you can strive, keep him in the back. She's only half as strong without a man. Now, that's not to degrade her to say that she's not nothing or she could never be great without a man. You can be great, but you can't hit your full potential without a man next to you that's on your that can, you know what I'm saying, that's there with you. And together, there's a limit to him and her, but together they can supersede their level because of they both strengths and weaknesses. Now they in a different space together. You know what I'm saying? That's not just financial like Jay-Z and Beyonce. They was rich, but together they was a billionaire. Same principle. You know what I'm saying? Same principle. And I said, and the man is only half as strong, so it's not biased. A man can be as masculine as he wants, but without a good woman or somebody that really can, he can only get to a certain level. So I said, yeah, man has his, and I said, yes, man has his own selfish problem. And two, we're even worse, not biased to women is why we still progress. Meaning that what I was trying to say was not trying to play women, but I understand that women hold a very important role in society of keeping our culture, especially black people and the world, in order. Men want to do what they want to do. We want to die, we want to do, but women keep the jobs, keep America clicking. So the response I got was, it's all about compromise on both sides. 100% truth. Men don't want to be seen as the enemy. Women don't want to be dominated. We need partners who can cooperate so that we can make it well from one end of life to the other. RP, right? Kevin Samuels. We do need partners, but I guess like the word dominate, submit, women are afraid of these words. But it's equivalent to a man being called a piece of shit, like father or deadbeat, or right? It don't represent us either. But it's so freely used by women that even though they've been hurt, you've been hurt by a man you chose, or the thing that is happening. That's just him, though. There's just as many fucked up women on earth as it is men. There is no clear discrepancy. You know what I'm saying? So her thing was that she said men don't want to be seen. See, being an enemy is something that has to be made to a woman. In order for a man to be a woman's enemy, and we feel like that's because of betrayal, the lack of respect, the lack of talking, the lack of being able to listen. A woman's job is to lead in certain ways and to listen. A woman cannot get to a certain point of life. She needs a man to tell her how the physical world operates. And a man needs help on sometimes with their sensitivity and they understanding the spiritual and understanding like we need things from y'all too that are just as important. But the fight of not wanting to be dominated. Listen, humans are mammals. The lions and every mammal on planet Earth dominates this woman. And the woman gets dominated. In the pride, it's 6, 7 girls. It's one male. They can whoop his ass. Because if a new male come, they got to fight him. And if they like him and he's strong enough, they'll let him fight. And if he win, they'll send the old one off and keep him. So who really in control, right? They say the women, right? But think about it. These 6 or 7 lions, females or women of their species, still submit. All 6. It don't make them weaker, right? They still hold a very important factor because they understand that even though they're women, a group of 6 women by themselves do not intimidate 2, 3 males because the size of these males are crazy. The women are more aggressive and can fight their ass off, but she has to exude so much more energy that she's going to work harder. That's why there's numbers. But a male lion can defend more. Let's not talk about against each other. Against other animals, a male lion, 3 male lions can do so much fear and damage that 6 female lions can do. But the female lions are not trying to dominate. They're hunting, they're doing their roles, and they go back. And when they get back around a man, they're submitting. I showed live one day that the lion and her husband was getting, well, I say husband, but the king, he was getting weak. And so he was getting older. He was coming out of his range. So he would hunt when he got tired. So they was hungry, her sister, her son. So they went to the other side of the pride to where their brother was. And what did they do? They submitted to the males. And then they let them eat. But their son would not submit to the male. So they ran all them off. Right? The principle there for a woman is to realize that, see, she submitted, but her son didn't want to. They didn't want to listen. This ain't my daddy. That's why niggas don't want to fuck with another man's son. Because it's natural. That's why our kingdom is mostly based off a person's family. But even in your own family and own kids, they'll do you dirty. So it's no difference. Or you could do them dirty. Your kids are not your kids. You know what I'm saying? It's not a crime. Some of this is natural, but it has to be understood. And the problem is that when we're dealing with women, women have stopped being open-minded to accepting what a man has to say and what it does. As a man, it's not my job to sugarcoat to you and be nice to you. Like if we've been together for years and I see a problem and this problem exists for years, clearly if it still exists, then the problem isn't being handled. So since a black woman has been told that her mouth is being mouthy and she can say whatever, smack her lips, snatch shit out of hand, do all this shit and nothing go wrong, that's why these niggas fell her. And I say it just like that. They mad that why black man go to a white girl ain't snatching shit out his hand. She ain't even talking back like that. She got her own way of getting back at him, divorced, marriage, taking his money. But she understands a certain principle. So I say all of this to say what? Because she said a woman don't need to be dominated. Nature says a woman needs to be dominated. And if she is a dominant woman, then she needs to get a omega male, which is she has to stop going after strong men because you don't belong. You belong in the other side, which is the man who needs guidance and needs to be told what to do and pushed around. They exist too. But women think that a masculine male wants a masculine woman. We do. If she could be masculine to everybody else, but as long as she knows that I'm going to submit, she has to submit to me and I'm going to submit to her. There's certain things I'm not going to argue with her about or do certain things because at the end of the day, I respect her power. It's a 50-50 exchange. That sometimes I should shut the fuck up and be quiet and listen. And then sometimes that she should shut the fuck up and be quiet and listen. It's all about who has the experience, who's important. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I always try to point this out. So we're going to read a couple more. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, y'all. Let me tag a couple people. All these groups. So I'm switching over though. For everybody who's been watching me on Facebook, switching over, trying to get these things right. So hold on, y'all. I'm tagging, but y'all know how this go now. I was better off using my phone to do the tagging because they bring you all the way back to the top. So for everybody who just tuning in or coming in now, what are we talking about? For this part, we passed Kyrie and we talking about a conversation about women. So I heard my answer. You heard her answer saying that they need somebody to corroborate them so they get from one end to the other. I wrote, enemy is something that we feel because we are men and not valued, but it's personal. Domination is nature or natural. And it's the universe. All animals, mammals, females are dominated. Women rebel against the natural order and God or nature or whatever we call as a higher power. She said respectfully, males dominate other men and they don't dominate and bully. They don't dominate and bully females. See, domination and bully are two different things. That's the first issue that a woman needs to understand. We use so many words as they're similar, but they're not the same. To dominate you is like dominating my family, being in charge of certain areas, a certain principle. It's certain things. But to bully you, that's completely opposite of domination. People got domination sex. They ain't killing each other. They're not hurting each other, just being in control in a certain way of certain ways. Or knowing what I control, what I don't control. Hold on, y'all. My phone gonna die. I'm glad I noticed that. All right. So hold on. And it says they shouldn't have to. Modern women don't need an overlord or a second father. Feminism was crucial because women had been dominated in a healthy way, but needed autonomy. But healthy people know we need each other, has the strength. So when she said modern woman doesn't, so the modern woman thinks she's better than the woman before her. That's what I get from that. The modern women, they have more freedom. and you have more freedom and you have more power. But integrity-wise, moral-wise, mental-wise, mother-wise, traditional-wise, y'all ain't even fucking close to them. Not even close. Now, they say they don't need a second father. Well, that goes against nature. Because when you have a child with a man, there's a principle. You are not, no woman is born as strong as their boys like that. Their sons grow up to be stronger than them most of the time. So that's just fighting against nothing. When they say they don't need a second father, and even in like the Bible or religious book, it says when you get married that your husband comes before your father and your wife comes before your mother. So that's a lack of information, but you have more power, but it don't mean that you're better off or you're doing us any justice with your power. Because the same way how you said they don't need a second father, well, what the fuck make you think that we need second mothers? Because the women, y'all want to tell us what the hell to do. Y'all want to tell us how to be men, how to treat a woman, how to be, you know what I'm saying? We get that. But y'all not interested in compromise or trying to do that shit back as a whole. You know what I'm saying? And for the record, when she said feminism is bullshit. Feminism is no better than white supremacy because it only served the purpose of one people. So feminists are supremacists of women. And a feminist is a male chauvinist. There's no argument. Regardless, if women that don't like men that say women need to be da-da-da-da-da, it's equivalent. Because the woman today has the power and she is equivalent to doing to men what their grandfathers did to women. So with your power, did you make family better? Did you make the house better? Or did you fuck it up? Or did you abuse it? These are questions. So I said, modern woman does not care about God or her children or life. Self-explanatory. Just power separation. Want to be men. But I'm not saying dominate like harm them. Woman wants to be more than she has to be. As a man, I don't want to be a female or a woman because I know my place as a man and I understand that we have different functions. But women are spoiled today and told that men don't have the right, that they have the right to be rude, to be sexist, to be feminist. They don't have to respect a man, don't need a man, don't want a man, right? And black women said black women I respect, but we were taught not to tell a woman the truth. Don't talk about her weight. Don't ask her age. You know what I'm saying? Don't ask her about her sex partners. Hold on, y'all. Excuse me. So why is that okay? If she had 20 sex partners, why the fuck shouldn't we have the right to ask that question? If you embarrassed of it, your ass shouldn't be doing it. Simple. Right? So I say we equal. Women have to learn to listen and understand because you can't make a baby by yourself. So since you can't make this child by yourself, what the fuck get a feminist that, like, I don't get it. Because the feminists not pushing a joint commotion. They worried about the integrity of a woman. And then not only that movement started back then, segregation. And when they got the rights, y'all didn't go back and put the black woman in her place. The black woman got it through time. But y'all wasn't fighting for her. But y'all used her vote and her body. Right? And it says now, that's not righteous. Everyone on earth is held accountability equally. Woman has to be told in America that she is allowed to be, a woman in America is allowed to be not honorable. And nobody supposed to say nothing. And so I said, misunderstanding my principle and foundation. A woman shouldn't be fighting a man about strength. Because what I guess I was responding to her when she was saying like they're both equally strong. No, we're not. A woman, you're strong in your own way and I'm strong in my own way. I can't push no baby out and you can't lift and do that shit that I do without fucking your body up. So that's my point on it. I'm gonna leave that alone. My last point is about the right to believe in what you want to believe in before we get out of here. We all had a right to believe in what we want to believe in. And regardless of what job we have, they have no right to tell us what we should or shouldn't. But if a company is owned by a people that believe something that you don't believe or don't like what you said, they don't have the right. You know what I'm saying? So remember, I told y'all first there will be a lawsuit. BH.